That's a nice lighter.
It's not mine. It's my friend Georgie's. Thanks, though. I'll tell him you said so.
Nah, it's all right. If you're just tuning in.
Damn, okay, I guess I won't then.
I love the places I choose to start the show. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Logan, and this is the Milk and Toast Podcast. I'm here with my friend, Mitch. Say hi to the people, Mitch. I don't know why I introduced you like that.
You can't see, but I was blowing the cushion in your face.
All right.
What's happening?
Is that you should have waited for 420 to do that.
Oh no. Look at it.
Happy what is it? Oh yeah, happy Trans Visibility Day. That's what today is on our recording day. Yeah.
Really?
Just snuck up on me. I was just like, oh shit.
I didn't even know.
It's a holiday today.
Shit, happy Trans Visibility.
I feel like we should have off on every holiday.
Yeah, but it's America, bro.
It doesn't make sense. Or at least a remote work from home day. You know?
Not everybody could do that.
I don't care. Like, I don't know.
Hey, all the construction workers. Hey, you guys are off today.
Just phone it in.
Just phone in, all right? All right, so I'm gonna need you to remotely move all this lumber and this concrete. Make sure you get it mixed. The boss will be at home. Yeah, just figure it out some shit, all right?
That's probably where we're headed though. You know, it's like remote construction and shit like that. Like people just like having robots. There's like Amazon robots and shit that like they like move they
deliver stuff. A good friend of mine is in the field of robotics. It's advancing every day. Literally, the direction to be moving in is to make all the strenuous work automated.
Done by robots. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all the work you'd pay a human for, but you know, I'm not necessarily on the side of like, oh, we got to stop the robots from having jobs. I'm not really. Because you don't pay, like the jobs that you do have the people in, you don't pay those jobs. So it's like you already almost have the robots there too. You know, like some people are like, I don't do self-checkout because it takes somebody's job away. I'm just like, okay, but like the job that it took away, they was getting paid $8 an hour. Like they're not getting paid anything. And you the same type of person that don't want people to raise the minimum wage. So what are you really mad about?
Well, it depends on where you are in terms of raising minimum wage. Because as soon as the wage gets lifted, so does everything else. So it's like the wage lift didn't even happen.
It doesn't translate that way. If that happens where you like, let's say you raise the minimum wage like $5, right? And then you see like a $5 increase in your burger, you should riot. Because it's not a proportional increase at all. But
you do. Well, I'm not saying it's to that degree, but you know that happens. Whenever there's a wage increase, there's also an increase in real estate or...
Not to the extent that like you can't live anywhere or you won't find a place.
Well, I know, because then people would actually be rioting.
Yeah,
the fact that still happens though, period, is the problem, and we should be rioting.
That's not a problem. No, that's what like the cost of things should rise when there's more money in the market. Like, you know what I mean?
But to give someone a wage gap who's barely making, dead ends, or even like a middle class person, and then as soon as you give them that wage increase, to then increase everything around them.
Okay,
before even seeing how the wage increase affects.
Let me say it like this. Let's say we gave everybody like a $20 minimum wage, right? What do you think like the price of cereal would be?
In New York City, you mean?
Sure.
Okay. So $20 minimum wage.
Like the price of cereal is now like $6. Like depending on where you go.
What? Not $4? Where you getting $6 cereal?
It's like $5.99.
Well, I mean, when you buy name brand, cereal's the one thing I won't eat
for Frosted Flakes. I love Frosted Flakes. That's why I always look at the price. I'm like, fuck this.
Like, so if we get a $20 wage increase, cereal's $6, that may bump up to $8 or $9.
I'm not going to argue with that. It'd probably be like more like
it
7.
Could be like
it'd probably
7.
be more like 8.
Oh, really?
It'd probably be like 8. It'd probably be like 8.
I was gonna push for 10, honestly, but like 8 or 9,
But 8, but like $1 increase from like a $5 increase in like your check, or like not even a $5 increase.
Well, it's nice when we're talking about
it's 15 in New York, right? So it's
minimum,
like
minimum 15.
Yeah, so like
which isn't anywhere near where it should be, by the way.
I'm just saying, for a cost of goods, like $1 increase for like cereal or for like it could be 50 cent increase, which really it probably wouldn't be, but like small increases in like the goods and services that we have for like a living wage is not like detrimental to anybody. Like that's something that they use and they say a lot, that like, oh well, if you increase the wages at Walmart, then we're gonna make everything $30 to buy, and that's just not
okay.
not
Well,
true.
when we're talking about purchases at Walmart, and then we'd have to discuss the tax increase that will probably accompany that, or the sales tax or whatever. But that's one thing. But then when we're talking about also like rent and your living because you have to, it's not just one thing. That is the thing. You have to add everything gets an increase once the wage. Mind you, I'm for wage increase, like I said, but we should be rioting from jump.
Like, you just want to riot.
Yo, I got the well, okay, maybe a little bit, but yeah. Maybe country's gotten me upset, globe's gotten me upset as well. But anyway, when like, so it's a $20 wage increase. I mean, $20 which is great, awesome. But everything around you, as soon as there was like, yeah, so sales tax is gonna go up 0.0002%. No big deal. Mitchell's slapping somebody.
I'm too lazy to actually look at the statistics, because I remember they did a study about like how much like the price of goods and services would actually increase if you did a wage increase. So maybe we'll talk about it in another show. But like,
ooh, that might be a good one.
That is a good one, I think.
Well, it'd be informative, I should say. I feel like more
good.
people would be like,
informative
like,
is
damn,
good.
It's like that. Okay, yo, I'm down. That'd be funny. Ready to slap people.
I wanted to talk about, because obviously it's being beat until it's like the deadest of dead horses. But like this Will Smith situation is going on.
Right. Yeah.
But
you
before
opening
we talk,
right up. Oh,
no.
Yeah.
Before we talk about it, I wanted to talk about how every time you talk to a Karen, right, they'll be like, everything's not about race. But then at the same time, whenever like big events like this happen in the world, somehow racial battle lines just get drawn on every subject.
Yeah,
and so like
immediately. That was the part that was crazy.
Yeah, immediately
I was like, damn. I was like,
you'll have like a whole cavalry of like white people that just like gather up and they're like ready to say like anti-black shit and say it's not. And then you'll have like, you know, all the black people ready to defend ourselves. But at the same time, you know, somebody's always like saying that like, you know, there's no racial element to this, or this doesn't have anything to do with race. But somehow I feel like it's very indicative of how steeped in racism the country is when things like this happen, because you have to be in a certain mentality already and be conditioned into a certain mentality already, where you automatically agree with people who you don't even know just because they look like you, and yet you still have the same kind of like cultural opinion about other people. You know, you kind of get where I'm going with it?
A little bit, yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah, it's like, how is it that I feel like it's more than just coincidence that like all the white celebrities in Hollywood came out over the week and they're like bemoaning how much of a travesty it is that niggas was fighting at the Oscars. Like, you know, it's just like
oh, why you gotta do people like that? Poor Taylor Swift. Come on, man.
No, I wanted to say it like that because it's the truth. It's like, what? I just don't find the coincidence in it. And then like when you go on like social media and everybody's like, oh, it has nothing to do with race. And it's just like, it has nothing to do with race, but you just happen to agree with all the racist opinions that this event has in store for you. It is just, I don't know. How do you think that happens?
Man, I mean, typical tribalism patterns to start. And then after that, it's what's the hot topic. Kind of, I think it just honestly becomes a popularity contest. Everything you were talking about in terms of like them saying it's not racist and then kind of low key making it about race through who they align with is true. But like, otherwise, I think it's this is the popular opinion. I want to stand with these people who has the most, because it looks like those people are right. And I do want to be on the right side of this and shit. And then you're fucking scrambling, not even thinking.
I think even the idea of what is right and what is wrong gets kind of caught up in that.
Me and you did that before we started, technically, bro. And I won't get into that just yet. But yeah, definitely agree.
Because if you're already inclined to think one is right or one is wrong over the other, it has something to do with how you were brought up and which culture you were brought up in too.
Well. And where your morals and values align.
I don't know. See, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think it has anything. I think a lot of people think it has to do with your morals and values, but I think a lot of it does also come from, you get your morals and like where you get your morals and where you get your values from, like, let me say it like this. Let's say you grow up as like a suburban white kid with like suburban white parents, right? What you're taught as your morals and values can be something completely different than like what a black kid growing up in the middle of Detroit is. You know what I mean? Even if it doesn't have anything to do with like, your environment, like I'm not even talking about like the police or whatever like that. I just mean like you just grow up with different people. You know what I mean? And so what could be right or wrong for you may not be wrong at all for the next person, right? But if that's how you grow up, that's all you know. And then so America has this thing where the country suffers with racism for like so long and has for so long, right? And what we like to tell people is that like racism is this thing that happens only if you're this type of evil person in the world, instead of like the fact that, we grow up in racist environments because we take no type of care to make sure that our environment is not racist. You know what I mean? We take no type of care to make sure that we don't have an environment that is not inhospitable to people who aren't white. You know what I mean? So whatever advancements we make in racism, we just always have this horrible this horrible outlook that, racism is over. Like racism has been over like 20,000 different times over the course of like the life of the country. I feel like, because it's like you free the slaves and they're like, well, racism is over. And then you like, you overcome Jim Crow and it's like racism is over, and then it's like you overcome Reagan and then it's like racism is over. It's like every like little bit, it's like there's another step that we didn't take care of and we were very neglectful of, and instead of just like taking a moment to like reflect or like do whatever work we needed to like actually like, I don't want to say solve racism because I don't think it's a thing you can actually solve, but to take care to actually be introspective about it, at the very least, to be introspective, to be like, you know what, I did some shit yesterday and it was kind of fucking racist. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, fair.
Like without that, we're just like walking around and then like we have like certain opinions about like people in general, no matter who it is, no matter what race that is. And then we feel like, oh, that comes out of nothing. And then it has nothing to do with me, to the point where I'm innocent, Mitch is just like, it's baked as shit.
No, I'm not that baked. I was just kind of thinking about something. But no, I mean, all that's true, man. It's a tough call though, because so you had said something earlier. You were like, yo, your morals and values come from where you're raised, which is true, because that's where it starts. But right. Don't forget your experience living and who you're interacting, where you go. There's kind of like
no, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like this pool of also discovering what you really think. And how you tap into that, depends on the person's experience and journey. But there is that sense of like, almost like a universal moral fiber to say like that everyone understands like on a basic level, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just in terms of being able to have empathy for something, I mean for someone and realizing like if that's happening to them and it hurts, like obviously that would hurt me and I wouldn't want that to happen, some shit like that. But so sure, where you're coming from has an effect, but as you grow up you kind of start to realize it. And that's why education is important.
Depending on where you grow up.
Yeah. And because I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
And that's why education is important. Because if you are smart enough to like fully take in your experiences and try to like really feel what was happening or, you know, think through it, analyze it, you know what I'm saying? Your moral fiber will start to like change. And me personally, I think mostly in positive directions, but I can't say fully because, you know, people be different sometimes.
I had an experience. No, I get what you're saying. I had an experience where like I got into it with this one person, and I really didn't try to get into it that much with them because they had like a tragedy that happened to them recently, and I felt like whatever like anger or whatever the tiff was between me and them, like it had more to do with that, like and whatever their troubles was than whatever they were saying to me, right? But at the same time, like it did get like caught up in like this like pseudo racial type argument thing, you know?
Yeah.
And later on, I was able to get back with that person. We talked about it and they kind of apologized about it. But then like one of the things that happened was that like we had talked about it and then I brought up that like, you know, that they've hung out with racist people and like in the past, you know, and like that's part of their environment. And then they asked me, they were like, do you think that has anything to do with it? And I was like, well, yeah, like, yeah, that definitely has something to do with it because they didn't figure themselves as a racist person. But like, just like when we tell people that like you have to be careful how like what you put in your mind when you watch TV or when you read certain things, like we absorb a lot that we don't necessarily keep check of all the time. And the shit that we absorb, it does come out like whether we want it to or not. Like it comes out in like very like small subtleties every day.
Sometimes at the most inopportune time.
And it doesn't have to be something explicit either. It doesn't have to be something like outright. Like he didn't call me the N-word or anything. But like there's a there's things that what was that?
I don't know, but I did hear it and it wasn't on my side, bro.
Oh, no, that was definitely on my side. I'm sorry. But no, it definitely had to. It definitely was like a racial thing. And I don't know this person to be, at the time, I didn't know them to be that way. But like, I leave room for everybody to be that way a little bit, you know? Because I think
because you kind of have to.
No, it's not because I have to. It's just because I feel like people are shitty and people are people. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I mean because it's like, you know, people aren't perfect and you want to believe in that person. You're like, yeah, but it's like,
I don't want to believe in anybody anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah.
Well, in terms of like close or friends you think wouldn't do you dirt.
Well, no, yeah. That's why I think I gave the person as much leeway as I did because I felt like I said, like they were going through shit and I knew like it didn't have anything to do with me, but it did make me think a little bit about like the direction of my relationship with that person. So yeah, you know, we weren't like 100% like back to like it wasn't the same after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I'm going through that with one of my friends right now, actually, I think. And I didn't even realize that first. But yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is though. Like you don't even like know you're there. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of
it just kind of snuck up and you're like, damn, still love you, damn, but all right, we'll get through this. We'll get through this.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. It was like, yeah, but like I think my point is just that, you know, like how you were saying about like, you know, you do grow up is that this was a full grown person. We were full grown people when this happened. You know what I mean? But like because you know you could be in a loving environment, but like the people you love hate the people you love. You know what I mean? But that also has an effect on you, that it has an effect on not just how they look at things, that has an effect on how you look at things, because at some point or another you have to be the person to accept their behavior. Like even if you get in an argument with those people, like you are still accepting of their behavior if you're still in the room with them at the end of that argument. You know what I mean? Like you've had that argument or whatever, but like you're still there, you're still there for them. And like it can be hard to like abandon people, and you probably shouldn't, but like there should be you should recognize that like being around somebody who is harmful does kind of get that on you a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just no way you can like be around somebody who is hateful and look at the person who's being hated and be completely innocent. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. You can't really, I don't know, bro. It's hard to tell, but I do agree in the sense that like you, on some level, you have to accept behavior.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like when you care about the relationships, I think that's why it happens. And sometimes you kind of like go against yourself because you wouldn't normally, but it's like.
But yeah, that's kind of what I mean, though, is that like at some level, it's like, I think that's what I used to say, especially during like the Trump era. It was like I used to say a lot, drop your bigot friends or enable them, is that like, just like you said, at some level, you're going to say what you really care about. Like if you care about having more of a relationship with your racist uncle than you care about your black friends and how they feel about your racist uncle, then you're kind of picking a side, like, and even if you say, well, I don't have any problem with black people. It's like, no, I think you're making a problem right now. You know what I mean? Mm. You're making a problem right now because I can't I can't be friends with like Bloods and Crips and be like, oh no, I don't have no problem with one side or the other. And then they're like, listen,
you can't be coming back and forth like this, bro. We don't even know what you're doing, player.
Like that. That's like you
don't even know how you made it this far, to be honest with you.
You're endangering somebody, at some point or another, you are risking somebody's life. You're putting somebody's like safety on the line. They can't be sure that they know that they can't be safe around your uncle. But now it's like, can I be safe around you? Because what made you feel like, oh, well, I'm safe and I'm okay, so I can come back and forth, whenever I want. It's like, why? Like, if you show him love and you show me love, what type of love is that?
A weird one.
Yeah,
people get caught in weird places, bro. Because you're asking someone to pick and that's the difference. Because you're asking someone family over friends.
That was the example, right? Not that. No. It's not that I want them to pick family over friends, and I don't. And I think sometimes I've been so loose with it.
Used.
No, yeah. That's what I was just about to address. Is that I think I've been so loose with that in the past that like it sounds just like that. Like, you're asking somebody to pick their family over friends. And I don't really think that. I think what I want you to do in the most extreme sense is to think about what direction you're leaning into and why.
And technically make the right choice.
Make a purposeful choice.
Well, I'm going to damn near say making the right choice.
Mm.
Unfortunately for whoever out there is like, how are you going to ask me to pick my family over one? It's not like that. I'm not asking you to dead your family member. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking you to never speak to them again. That would be impossible. Mm-hmm. But in terms of where you agree with on my life or how you feel about black individuals, you can never agree with them. Like, ever. How could you? Why would you want to?
No, because I feel, see, that's what I was saying against, though, is that like, a lot of people say that like, oh, well, I don't agree. I don't. They'd be like, I don't agree. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you don't agree, but like, why are you like there all the time?
Yeah, because then it's about time spent and all this. It's like you're going over there. And that is why I brought up the family, because, like, you know, someone, you know, let's take it a little bit further. Someone who's been in your life for 14 years that you were cool with is blood related to you. Mm-hmm. It's just hard to let those people go, because that's what really ends up happening.
No, that's true.
No, that's just honestly what ends up happening. You're like, shit, I don't know if I can let go. This person, imagine, this person literally birthed me, you know, always was there for me, saved my life a couple of times, some shit like that, you know, whatever you could think of. And then all of a sudden you find out one thing, which could be leading to multiple things, but like something you
used
didn't
to be
know.
A Nazi.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But like, dude, you know what I mean? But like, and then you find that out and you're like, shit, moral dilemma. And you know, me and you might, and we're not even that harsh, because I want to be like,
I say choose your uncle.
No, not me.
I do. I said choose your uncle because I don't need it that much.
Not me at all. But it's not about you. For that
what
example, well, it's not just about you, because I wouldn't say choose your uncle, because like I would prefer people
to be less racist,
like commit, you know what I mean? So I'd be like, don't choose your uncle. But that's why I said
no, because if you got to be lukewarm on me, like I don't need it either. Like I don't need somebody to be.
And this is what I'm saying. I'm not asking for lukewarm. Yeah. I said don't choose your uncle. Like that's what I'm saying. But to bring it back to the example earlier, because you were saying how like fuck, what was it? Shit, brain fart. That sucks.
It's all right. You're all right,
man. That sucks. Well, anyway, but no, I'm gonna tell you to not choose your uncle, unfortunately. And the reason I said it's not about you is because for the basis, like if you're willing to accept that and you know that, and basically you're kind of making the neutral option a little bit. You're like, you know, I don't agree with them, but you're willing to accept the potential for other things to happen. Oh, you could look the other way when certain things are happening. And then you become one of those people. So I'm like, nah, that's not any better.
But that's what I mean. Like if you are stuck between, or like if you're stuck between me and your racist hard place of an uncle, like just choose your uncle, because obviously you don't know what the right choice is. Like if you can't just like that, like you can't really decide. I don't need you and your namby-pamby ass following me around all day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need your undecided ass, like, following me around about, like, what you should do with your life.
I feel you, but I don't think that's fair because of what we just spoke about in terms of the family element. Like, I'm asking you to do it fully, but I know it's not easy. I'm not going to, I couldn't.
But you might need some time for that. So go spend the time with your uncle.
No, don't spend the time with your uncle.
Don't spend it with me. Spend it with Mitch and your uncle, but don't spend it with me.
No. Mitch didn't say the uncle was invited, but you could spend it with me. But, you know, not with your uncle. And I want you to choose me fully and wholly.
No, I don't even want that anymore. I used to want that. No.
Well, it's not about like bringing that directly into my life, but if the option is coming to me, that's how I want it to be. Like
I'll turn your ass right around. Be like, Logan, my mom voted for Trump. I don't know what to do. I'd be like, you need to go talk to your mom about that shit. Don't talk to me. You talking to the wrong person.
Oh my God, Logan.
I don't deal with nonsense like that shit no more.
Damn, that would suck though.
You know what would suck? If your black mom voted for Trump, then you really need to come talk to me. Then I could like maybe we can talk about that. I would say, yeah, damn, that sounds hard, man. I don't know. Yeah, you really.
Damn, wow. That's tough, man.
That's some tough shit. Like,
yo, you need anything?
I'll talk to you.
I ain't gonna really get you much, but you need something. Like I could run to the corner store.
So, yeah, let me get you a sandwich or something.
But all that to say and explain what happened to Chris Rock over.
Yeah, that's a weird segue.
That was a weird. Well, that's where we started, and then we just got into a whole bunch of shit because of that slot, which
because
wasn't to that extent.
Because a lot of it is racial, and it had to do with a lot of racism this week, and it had to. You know what my favorite response to the whole Chris Rock shit is Daniel Radcliffe, because like every white celebrity that was like speaking out. Let me say it like this: every white celebrity that was speaking out, and Zoe Kravitz, got like dragged on like Twitter and like social media by black people, and like they pulled out all types of receipts and horrors from their life, and like they asked, yeah, it was crazy.
Black Twitter is scary,
I never knew about these people. I was like, God damn, you did what to who? And
bro,
so
yeah,
like,
yeah, I've been seeing some of those.
So like with Jim Carrey and everything, I was like, God damn. Like these people don't they don't miss a beat. They don't
what do we find on Jim Carrey?
I don't even know. Like I didn't even want to look at it. I was like, let me just move on. I don't want to know what the horrible shit they dug up on Jim Carrey.
No, yeah, everybody took it way too far.
It's got to be bad. But like if it's Jim Carrey, it has to be like horrible. Like I don't even know what it is. Somebody tell me what it is, because like it must be like horrendous because it's Jim Carrey, right?
I'm saying, damn, Jim, what they got you doing, bro?
My favorite thing that happened was like they asked Daniel Radcliffe what he thought, and then Daniel Radcliffe was like, I'm just so incredibly bored by the whole subject, and I don't feel like my opinion would add to anything about it. And then it was just so great because it was like, you're not gonna do that shit to me. Like,
yo, I mean, valid, but don't do that. Don't do
that. He watched everybody get slaughtered for a whole week and was like, not me.
Well, because people try to make Will the respectable Negro. You know what I'm saying? That's what they always do. That's the image they want, and we're not those people. Will Smith is not those people. You know what I mean? And I'm the person, and me and Logan disagree on this, but I'm the person who still thinks Will was wrong for doing it, and I'm technically on Chris Rock's side, and Logan's on Will's side. So it's just so weird.
Why you gotta announce that?
Anyway, but like,
such a snitch.
What you mean snitch? We're gonna talk about it anyway. But yeah, man, like they try to make him to be this perfect person. So yeah, what he did was wrong, but then people started dragging it. Jim Carrey dragging it with the, I'd sue him for $200 million or whatever. And it's like Chris Rock ain't even tried to sue him because like, and I respect, this is why, once again, I'm full on Chris Rock's side. Like, mind you, I understand why Will was upset, why Jada was upset, but like, no, I'm still on Chris Rock's side. But like, people just dragging it. Face? Assault's not cool, bro.
Just because I didn't say it was cool. I'm saying
you're saying it's cool every time you say that.
How? Tell me how.
Just because you got hit in the face?
Evaluate
that. It was literally what? It was textbook illegal assault. What? I don't understand.
Slap that man in the face. Shut up.
And see, this is what I was dealing with before the start of the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is just what I'm dealing with. But anyway, moving on from that, because I'll probably be back to it later. Yeah, they try to, it's like, yo, we're not those people. Will was upset. Oh, and then Shannon Sharp, who had this speech, which at first I agreed with, because he was like, yo, if Will slapped me, I would have had to whoop him, or he would have had to whoop me. And I was like, no, that makes sense. It's assault, and self-defense should be accompanied by illegal assault immediately, personally. Like, I would, niggas slap. I just haven't been the same since I got jumped. Like someone like physically attacking me.
That.
You could say that.
When I saw that, I was thinking
Logan,
about
this is why. This is one of the main reasons it's not fucking like funny to me. Mind you, I didn't take it serious because I know it's just a slap. But I'm like, you don't put hands on nobody unless you ready to have hands put on you, my nigga. Like, the fuck's wrong with you?
Here's the thing. Like when this whole thing started, I was never on Chris Rock's side. Like I was never on Chris Rock's side. Like not like when like I saw like I woke up the next morning and saw it happen. Like I didn't even see it happen in real time, like from Twitter or whatever. I saw it in the next morning while I'm getting ready for work, and I saw that shit happen. I was like, he deserved that shit. Like it was just like immediately that was the response to my body, and like I was waiting for the moment where like I would have some like a gleam of redemption for him, like just a little sympathy. You know what I mean? And it never came. Like it just never, never hit. It just never hit. I just never felt bad for him.
You remember what we were talking about earlier? How it's like, because once again, I don't even care about sides, but that's what it became due to the whole bullshit we talked about earlier. Remember how we were talking about getting to what's like right and just what's right and wrong, not like trying to form fucking, because of how I said tribalism is a pattern, but not trying to form different things.
Yeah.
That's one of the things here, because it's like, you're like, oh, he deserved that shit. And like I said, that's honestly debatable. For real, for real. Man, talk ill about somebody's wife, but it was a joke. So that's my other thing. But now we're in a point where certain jokes hit too hard. And it's like, that's not cool, which I understand. Don't get me wrong. I understand Will isn't perfect. And he slaps him. And mind you, I don't think he meant to. He apologized first to the academy.
Meant to do that. Like, he meant to fuck the shit out of him. Like, he meant to really fuck him up. Like,
no, yeah. No, that's not what I meant.
But
like,
that was very intentional. I
know. I'm aware. No, that's true. I just meant in the capacity where I don't think that's something he would want to do, but he felt it on his heart and was like, oh, nah, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this, but pow! You know what I mean? Like, but you know, it's like, sure. Because I could recognize the wrong in the entire situation without picking a side whatsoever. You know, Rock making the joke in the first place about a black woman with alopecia, which isn't funny. That's not funny.
I think it's more than just not funny. See,
it's insensitive. You know what I mean? Distasteful.
I think it's just wrong, and I feel like this is why I love this thing. This I think this is what my problem is that, like, for me, the whole thing represents a lot more than just the initial slap and whatever it is. And I think that's Will Smith's problem, because for him, it obviously means a whole lot more because of everything he's gone through.
Well, yeah, but then we got to get into some business.
We might even get there. But what for me it is that, like, for a very long time now, and it seems like we've been just caught in it. You know, like when they're like, oh, it's the age of Aquarius or whatever. It felt like that. Like, it's just like we're just caught in this like wormhole of time where, like, is this shit ever going to end? Like a fucking retrograde, right? And what it was called is the time period in which comedians felt like they were fucking untouchable. Like, they should just say whatever the fuck they want to say, and everybody should just fucking deal with that shit. Okay. You know?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
And, you know, it's annoying. I feel like that's where a lot of the cancel culture shit comes from, where, like, people are like, oh, wow, I can't believe you would cancel somebody just because they told a joke. And then it's like, okay, now we've gotten to this point where you can't cancel people because you said a joke that was fucked up and it wasn't funny. And now you're saying that you just have free reign to do whatever you want to do and say whatever you want to say. And people should just take it on your word that, like, it's a joke. And so because it's a joke, it doesn't matter. Okay, cool. And I was just happy to see that there was an expiration date on that. Like, I just was happy to see that as much as people want to say that, and as much as they want to just go on and, like, believe that that's like the pseudo law of the land, that, like, because you're a comedian, you get to say whatever you want, and, like, people should, like, deal with it. Like, they, like, act like comedians are weird to me. They act like court jesters didn't used to get beheaded. Like, they really act like
Which
that.
is actually probably why they go so hard, because court jesters used to get beheaded. But also jesters were assigned by the court. And sometimes I don't believe
they still get fucking killed. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
no, I mean that was literally, they didn't have power to begin with.
Just like the Oscars, Chris Rock was like, you know, and so here comes. It's so funny because it's so Shakespearean in a way, because, like, he says right before he gets slapped, "Uh-oh, King Richard," and then, like, King Richard slaps the shit out of him, like he beheads him on stage, and it was just like, you know what I mean? There's levels to the shit. It's crazy, right?
Not even that King Richard. Oh, man. Bro,
right?
That's funny assessment. Good parallel. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend. That's a good parallel. As a avid Shakespeare reader.
But, like, that's what I mean. It's just that, like, there's this, it's just this time when, like, people felt like, oh, because you're only using words. And it's like, no, words mean things, and words hurt people, and words matter. Like the things you say matter. You can't just say that, oh, I was just kidding.
Oh,
I was
wait,
just making
Logan,
a
my
joke.
fault. Excuse me for a second. I'm going to turn off my mic so nobody has to hear this. I'll be right back.
Sure, hold on.
Nobody heard that, right?
No, I stopped this.
Oh, what? Oh, you didn't have to.
Yeah.
I wasn't taking
But no, like you can't just say whatever. Like they want to be able to say whatever they want and do whatever they want, and it's just like we got to the point where he just fucked with the wrong one at the wrong time, and that's all that happened. To be honest, like if this wasn't Will Smith and Chris Rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just two people on the street, and like they were having a good time until like one of them told a fucked up joke, and then one of them hauled off on the other one. You're right. It's assault. And I hate the assault assessment because it's like, okay, this is a very obvious thing that's happening. Yes, I get it.
Yet you keep dismissing it.
I do dismiss it because it's not novel to me. It doesn't, it's like, it's so fucking irrelevant. It's like, it's not the point. Like the point is not that, you know, whether an assault occurred. We all saw an assault occur. Thank you for like labeling the thing that nobody has a problem like believing that Chris Rock was assaulted. Like that's not the problem. That's not even the issue.
But that's also not the point, and it is the issue.
No,
one of the issues.
It feels to me like the teeniest of tiniest of issues.
Technically the biggest. It's why people have a problem with it in the first place. I mean, don't get me wrong. The fact, of course, that, you know, we're at the point where it's like, should comedians be slapped for distasteful jokes? Probably. That conversation, which is debatable. The fact we're there is due to the fact that dude was assaulted. We're like, yo,
we've had a year.
Technically got hurt. Is that cool?
It's not about, is it cool? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying whether it's cool or not.
Although I think you did say you think he deserved it. So on some level, you are kind of saying it's cool. Yeah, he definitely
deserved that shit.
Which means you're kind of saying it's cool.
Somebody. Listen, there's a lot of shit that's going on in this. He's talking about a black woman having alopecia. He's talking about a black woman that he's talked about before.
Jada? Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yes, he's talked about. Okay, when everybody was talking about how white the Oscars were.
Wait, Logan. Okay. But we said he was wrong. I said he was wrong for that, right?
Wait, for what? Which part?
For the joke, as I brought up. I told you. I think he's wrong for that.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to tell you how wrong he is.
Well, I know how wrong he is.
When when the Oscars were going through their little troubles when everybody was like, yeah.
Did you mix those? I'm sorry. That doesn't matter.
No. It's she's in the story. I got dyslexic for a second.
No,
when the Oscars were going through their little troubles and everybody was like hashtag Oscars so white, and they was talking about how white the Oscars were and how there's no representation for the Oscars and all this blah 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 blah, right? Jada was among the people that were talking about it, and Chris Rock got up in front of a lily white Oscar crowd and was like,
I remember. Yeah, I remember that.
He decided to use her as a punching bag for it and said that, you know, can you really get to complain about the Oscars if you're not even invited, right? So he has history talking about this one particular person. He has history talking about this one particular person's wife. You know what I mean? He's also like making fun of, whether it's beknownst to him or not, he's making fun of a black woman not having hair, which are the type of jokes that are deeply rooted in like like homophobia and shit. Because usually when people like point out like mannish features about black women and stuff, like whether it's a black woman's arm, like black woman's hair, or is like Michelle Obama's arms, or whatever it is,
Serena's physique,
or Serena, even like that,
wonderful, beautiful,
right?
Physique.
It's rooted in this like real homophobic type behavior, where it's like, you know, black women just like, they don't have like European features and they look like men or whatever, right? So you're leaning into that joke when this is all the types of stuff, and I could keep going on, but like let's just start there as like a starter pack, like just the basic cable of it, right?
Okay.
And then the joke before then was about Javier Bardem and his wife. And the best thing, worst thing.
I didn't hear that one. I didn't actually hear. I just see
all he said about them was that, like, oh, if she loses her Oscar, you can't win your Oscar because then there'd be a long card ride home. So it's like there's certain type of respect that you're willing to at least simulate for, or care that you're willing to give to other people that aren't black. And then when you get to the black woman, then you talk about how she doesn't have hair, and like you make this G.I. Jane joke for basically, you know, her looks. You're talking about her looks. You're not talking about her accomplishments. You're not even talking about, you know, like even even jokes about like the Will and Jada like entanglement situation would have been more tasteful than that, to be honest.
Well,
no, for real. Like,
I know I would have,
because it would have been something that's outside of Will and Jada. It's very much a part of like what's going on with them, but it's just as low brow as the hair joke was, but it's something that it wouldn't have been about Jada's blackness. It wouldn't have been about her as a woman and her womanhood. You know what I mean? And so,
it probably would have still been about her a little bit as a woman, but maybe not.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but it wouldn't be about like her inherent womanness, is what I'm saying. Like it wouldn't be like like it wouldn't be like that. And so, thank you for that correction too, because I didn't even think of it that way. But like,
that's what I do.
Fuck you. But like, when I add all those things together, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot to put on anybody to not say that
Slap
you don't. No, it's
oh, okay.
It's like, a lot to put on my sense of logic and my sense of like consciousness to be like, these offenses do not at least warrant like a slap. Like that's a lot. It's a lot to ask for. From me, it's a lot to ask for.
I think it warrants a response. I'm not sure if that response is violence yet, per se.
I think we have this, and then that's the other thing, is that like we have this thing where we look at violence through a lens that is, I think, a bit whitewashed. And like watching the comments and the commentary about the whole thing, it is very like we were talking about racial battle lines. It comes from that. Like we're in the midst of this time period where like white people are in the middle of an entire war on the other side of the world. You know, like you have two white countries who used to be the same fucking country. So it's really two white people from the same white place, you know, blowing up and shooting each other and doing all types of horribleness, right? And then on the other side of the world, you have white people moralizing to us that, you know, oh, well, violence is never the answer and blah, 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 blah. And they're the same people a week ago that were like, yeah, fuck up the Russians. You know what I mean? So I just have a hard time not being honest. Let me say it like that and remove them.
It sounds like you have a hard time not slapping people you think you deserve it, which is an issue for you to delve into. There's a lot of people that deserve getting slapped that I haven't slapped. That you haven't slapped? Oh, so you understand that you shouldn't be just necessarily putting hands on people.
That's not true. No. Because when you say unnecessarily, that's really at the discretion of the people who are getting slapped and the slappee, you know?
Did you just say the slappee?
The slappee and the slapper. That's what I meant.
Okay, moving on. So,
like, I just have a hard time believing that there's no circumstance in which you didn't run your mouth too far where you get tagged.
I wouldn't say I thought that was it. I feel, because of course there should be a response. Like you can't just be talking reckless about shit. And I imagine for Chris Rock, that was like a wake up call. I mean, he didn't press charges or anything, but I imagine for him, that was like a wake up call. Like, oh shit, I might have took it too far. But you know, I don't know, if we don't like someone's entertainment, for instance, we're just supposed to not support them. You know what I mean? We're supposed to call out their bullshit and let them know that the joke was bad or some shit like that. People are like, oh, like, yo, for far too long, comics have been doing that. And you're saying this now. Yeah, and I get you on some level. Like, people can go too far. No one's immune to that. But resorting to violence, and I know it was just a slap, but there's still meaning to it a little bit further down. Because now, I mean, it was a slap. So what if he came up and like decked him and then was flat out just like kept hitting him till he was dragged off?
I would feel like that's the sign of the times, and that's where we are. Like that's how I would feel about that. Like I would still have like zero
Logan's
fucking remorse about it.
Logan's looking on screen, just sitting there like, all right.
I look at it from Chris. Yeah, I look at it from the context of before, like just 5 seconds before he got slapped, we were in the age of you can get on stage in front of a room full of white people and then make fun of a black woman for not having hair, right? Mm-hmm. Like that was that was reality for like when he said that joke. That's what world we lived in. And then like if we just backed up a couple months, you could have like 3 comedy specials about trans people and your thoughts about them, you know? And then if we backed up even more, you can just say, you keep getting to this point where comedians just keep going and going and going. They just want to say whatever they want to say. And anytime the criticism comes, it goes, oh, you're too sensitive, or oh, this, or oh, that. You didn't get the joke, or you don't like comedy. You don't really like, that was the one I always hated. You don't really like comedy because you're not ready for like to hear like your sensibilities be offended, or like comedy should be offensive and everything. And it's like, now you get to the point where you offended the wrong motherfucker for whatever reason.
Despite it being a joke, it's like, yeah, we get it was a joke, but it wasn't tasteful to your audience. No, I get that. I do. Like, I completely understand that. But, you know, and you made the jester comparison is like, okay, get rid of the fucking jester. You don't got to kill him, though. You could. It's a learning moment.
It sets a precedent, doesn't it? It really does, doesn't it?
It does, in a violent one.
It does.
No, it says, oh, it does, yes. And it sets a precedent for
because
violence.
I really don't. I'm not a rule follower like that anyways. So I don't really give a fuck about the rules that much to be like, oh my God, he assaulted somebody. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, people get assaulted all the time. Like, people get shot at. Like, it's not like I live in fucking New York. I'm supposed to care about somebody getting slapped? Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I really don't care.
Not the point.
It really is. It really is, because
it's I
can't clutch my pearls and be like, oh my God, violence. You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
It's not the point to clutch your pearls and be like, oh,
what
violence.
Are we saying then? What are we saying?
It's the point to say, yo, you assaulted somebody. Don't do that shit. Oh, okay, let's recognize what happened in here.
Don't make jokes if you don't want to get hit.
If you don't want to get hit, no one should be getting hit.
I wouldn't. I
don't know why it's so difficult for you.
No, like,
and I get the examples you're making. I get the examples.
My thing is, you're right too. Like, I think you are also correct. Nobody should be getting hit. But they do get hit. And we're back to hitting people. I kind of like.
My man, you know what? I'm kind of liking this ride real quick.
I'm kind of liking this.
Let's go handle some business, yo. And you know the thing is, Logan,
we're in the age of maybe watch your fucking mouth when you talk.
You know, see, Logan. The thing is, and the reason why it's not okay. Mm-hmm. So if Will Smith had walked up how he did, looked Chris Rock dead in the eye, and said, yo, watch your fucking mouth. We need to step outside right now.
He would have looked crazy. Right?
And then stepped outside. I don't give a fuck about that just yet. But then stepped outside and beat his ass and walked back in. If anybody had complained, I would have been like, what you mean? Like, he did nothing wrong.
See, that's wrong. See, okay.
No, there was nothing wrong there.
How's there not fucking wrong there?
Well, I'm sorry. The assumption is also that Chris Rock, like, he was like, yeah, let's step outside. And Chris Rock was like, fine, let's step outside, which is a duel. And, you know, got his ass whooped, and Will got back
assault.
in.
It's still assault.
No, that's like not assault at all. You agreed to this. You, sir, I challenge you to a duel.
No, that's an illegal fight. That's disorderly misconduct. It's still
no, but that's to me, that's right. Like, that's not assault. That's like, this is an agreement.
No,
you was talking wild about my wife. I want to fight you. Do you agree? Yes or no?
So your problem is like it's unsanctioned
by and technically by we the audience, but also by them, the actors involved in it, you know what I'm saying? And Will just came up and just blindside smacked, because if he had walked up and just looked him in the eye, was mad, honestly, and that's the other thing, because if he just walked up and been like, yo, remember I was like, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Yeah, he
now
done it too
if
many
he had
times.
walked up and just looked at him and been like, yo, and just gave him the look and be like, yo, we got to step outside, and then even still nothing happened, to me works the same purpose. All you did was smack somebody and just made yourself look bad in one sense, because you lack self-control.
I hate that y'all have made me defend Will Smith's corny ass. Like, I don't like Will Smith this much. Like,
hey, this is the life you don't fucking no.
I
got y'all Milk and Toast podcast listeners. Nah. Don't you put that shit on us, nigga.
Yeah, I'm putting that on y'all.
You woke up and chose us. And mind you, we were supposed to be talking about how there shouldn't be any sides, but you clearly chose a side, Logan. So don't be mad at us.
I don't know if there shouldn't be any sides. I think that like the sides are like sus as fuck. I think it's real suspect. Like a lot of the white commentary about like.
Well, that doesn't matter in the first place. Neither does the fucking white gaze.
It
does. Like I
does.
said earlier, Will Smith is not a respectable Negro, and I told you this.
He is.
But
Will Smith has like crafted his entire image, and he's been open about that like he's crafted his image in a way to like be the person he is and be the type of actor he is and be the
Logan, I don't mean the respectable Negro. I don't mean the respectable Negro though in the sense of like Will Smith aspires to be this black person who carries himself that way. I just mean in terms of the metaphor along with the white gaze, which is the comparison we're making, which is why white people are like, oh my God.
You mean like in reality he's not that person.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. In reality, no, he is not that person. But he has... My thing is... This is what I've been trying to talk about for the last couple of weeks. Is that like I think for the last couple of weeks I've been trying to talk about issues that like have to do with like black perception, like the perception of blackness, you know, and what that has to, and like how that affects black people. Like when I talked about like black excellence and things like that.
So
you know
we're technically talking about everyone else's perception then?
No, it has to do with our perception about ourselves as well, because we also perpetuate this. You know what I mean? And we also don't actively seek a way out of it. You know what I mean? Like for all of Will Smith's work and all of his connections and all of the smiles and the handshakes and all the, you know, the good boy shit that he does. Mm-hmm. I barely see any white people come to his like defense. And it's like black excellence black excellence didn't save Will Smith. You know what I mean? Yeah, like he's one of those people. Like he's one of those people that people talk about.
One of the images that you would bring up, like absolutely.
It didn't save Will Smith on the worst best night of his life. It didn't save him after that. It didn't save him from like the Oscar committee being like, oh, maybe we should take away his Oscar, which they won't, but like just the mention of it, or the mention of suspending him from the Oscars indefinitely and shit. It's just like the disrespect involved, you know, that this shit wouldn't happen to like Tom Cruise. Like if Tom Cruise did the same shit, they would never be talking about how they're going to ban Tom Cruise from the Oscars.
That comparison's been made too, because John Wayne apparently did some crazy wild boy shit and you never heard. I will admit to that as well. Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up in terms of that perception there, because they talking all this. Like I told you, they dragging it. Talking all this wild boy fucking shit. It's like, okay, it happened. Let it go.
And so like, that's been like my kick for the last couple of weeks, is that like just diving into and like fucking dissecting this thing about like, and I didn't even know that. I think now I'm able to like analyze that, is that like I didn't know what I was doing at the time or why I was like interested in it, but I am very interested in this idea of like how we deal with perception as a community of peoples. and how we deal with that perception of ourselves and how we translate that and like mold that because of outsider perceptions as well. You know what I mean? And I've been thinking about this because like this is like the perfect thing where it's like Chris Rock is going to be fine throughout this whole thing. And that's probably why I have less sympathy for him, because I know he's going to be okay throughout the whole thing. Like, you know, like he gets to be the person that Will Smith slaps. And that's it. That's it at the end of the day for him. You know what I mean? And
he gets to be the person that Will Smith smacks.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. But like,
oh my God.
Will Smith, on the other hand, deals with this thing where they're threatening his like entire reputation. You know what I mean? Off of one slap. Like Mel Gibson said that he hoped his ex-wife got raped by a pack of niggers. Now, I don't even know what the fuck that means. But he said that shit, and I remember looking at like a meme of like all the stars' reactions of like what happened, and he was in the crowd, and I'm just like, Mel Gibson is there. But we are wondering if the reputation of Will Smith should be upheld.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Like, it's not that big a deal.
So that's why I want people to think about when we're talking about things like Black excellence or Black love or Black anything. Like, I want us to think about where those things come from. Why are we doing it? Why do we want them? You know, what is your end goal for it? You know what I mean? Because the Smiths, Will in particular, but like this is something that they've constructed over the years and maybe mishandled in the last couple of years. But like Will spent a long time constructing and being like, you know, the good Black kid. You know what I mean? Like he spent a long he spent a long time doing that.
No. When I think about it, like, yeah, like he really was from West Philly and all that, had issues and just kept working and like, yeah, turned out. People really do forget that. It's not bad.
That's great branding, you know. But like, for who? That was always my problem with Will. That's why I call Will Smith corny, because that was always my problem with him. Is because I'm not really sure if like this is for me.
He aligns with. I don't think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not like saying that like I don't like enjoy a Will Smith performance, but like some movies he's in and like some things he does, it seems like it's not for me, as I'm not the target audience.
No, I mean, when you think about Will Smith and certain like, it's very similar to that other space that certain Black celebrities, depending on how they move or what they do, can somehow like reach. As O.J. Simpson, I think, used to put it.
Yeah.
They want to make this a Black-white thing. Well, I'm not Black or white, I'm O.J.
Right.
And so that's how I feel you feel. Will Smith is aligned, and there's some truth to that. I mean, he doesn't have to necessarily interact with the Black community. He was like really, really, really looking for the white gaze. Most people working in entertainment are, because it makes you more money.
Especially at that level, and I get that. You know?
Which is one of the major racial disparities we had in this country to begin with in the first place. But Black people aren't dumb. Certain Black people, you know, who really want what they want or want a certain type of life are like, I have no issue with that at all in the first place. Money is money. Why shouldn't they give that shit to me? And Will Smith did kind of craft himself and made himself a good chunk of change.
Very palatable
for white people. Absolute. It's not, and so it's like, who are we doing it for? Well, you know, look at the way entertainment's built in America. And like we were talking about earlier in terms of how you're raised and where you're raised, at the root of America is racism. Oh, lo and behold, look where it rears its head again. Entertainment.
Well, I don't mean not just who we are doing it for, but I mean for like people on the individual level to be like, who are you doing it for? Like, who am I doing it for? Who are you doing it for? Who, you know, like on the individual level, like, are you even aware that you're doing it and why? Like I hear like opinions sometimes about like, you know, where black people are and what black people are doing. And it's like, you know, even there's black people that talk about black on black crime and stuff like that with like zero, like,
which isn't real.
Yes, but like
Public
without
service
zero
announcement,
types of
not real.
like, consciousness about like where that information comes from and why.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then are willing to accept it because we're told lies about ourselves, about us being more violent or us being this or us being that. And is at the same time, we have the exact
which historically in this country is so backwards.
But like, Mitch, this is the same shit that like Will Smith is dealing with. Like there are people like they're questioning how violent he is, and like like you would have the way they talk, like you would have thought like he shot Chris Rock the other night. You know what I mean? That's why I kind of downplay it a little bit, because he slapped the man. He didn't kill him.
Yeah, I know, Logan, and I do get
so
that.
What
I
I'm
do get
saying
that, but
is,
still, like,
I know, it's not necessarily quote unquote good, right?
But why did you sound like Stewie? Just keep going. I don't know.
I'll allow it, but like.
No,
the way the way people have treated it, to me, is just, it's really indicative of how we look at black people, and like how, like, especially when people are like, when we talk about like economics and black people, and we talk about like the bourgeoisie class, and like we want to talk about like, you know, classism and stuff, and like
we can talk about classism right now. This is
we can, but like. What I want to say about it before we jump into it, if we do, is that there's this idea that, like, you know, you can get into a certain tax bracket and then, like, you know,
the rules don't apply to you.
Yeah, the rules don't apply to you. Like, racism doesn't apply to you anymore.
You know, in America, though, on some level, that's actually true, right?
It's true depending on the type of racism that you apply. You know what? I just meant in
the legal sense, Logan. I wasn't even taking it there, because, you know, like, if you got enough bread, you could pay your way out of most shit, except for maybe like murder. Maybe, I think.
Well, if you're OJ, I mean, so he had a lot of bread. So,
Johnny Cochran.
But yeah, but like, even with that situation, like OJ only got off because of, like, I think I've said this on the show before, but he only got off because there was other surrounding social issues and other surrounding, like, detrimental racial issues that went on that preceded that, you know, and there was a backlash to that, and that's why he got off. You know what I mean? Like, heaven and earth had to, like, implode on one another for him to get off. And so for that to happen, we don't live in this space where, like, you can even make enough money where they'll still respect you or they'll give you a pass or whatever. Like, he didn't even slap a white person on stage.
Now, I was going to ask you, do you think he would have?
I think...
And don't you beat around the bush. You answer honest.
I was thinking about... It's hard to say for me, because I'm not trying to. I swear to God, I'm not trying to beat around the bush, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because
says that as he beats around the bush.
No, I'm gonna say because Will Smith is so fucking weird that, like, he might fuck around and, like, do it, because, like, I think, like, he was literally, like, at his fucking breaking point. Like, he was like,
yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? And then that's what happened.
Breaking point for him, at least, yeah. Right.
Yeah, for him.
Like, if Leonardo DiCaprio had been like, aha, he would came up and like, yo. But Leo would have, like, probably sued him. Maybe Leo wouldn't.
He might have let it
go. But, like,
Tom
Cruise definitely would.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise definitely.
Tom Cruise. Well, listen, Tom Cruise, like, people keep saying how Chris Rock is small, and they need to stop doing that. But, like, Tom Cruise is like, we have to call, like, the ASPCA if he hits Tom Cruise. Like, he is like hitting a small dog. Like, it's not, he's too small to hit. Like, he is like, we have to call Child Protective Services if he hits Tom Cruise. Like, we need to call whoever.
But, you know, a lot of
He's
people
too
also
small.
feel wrong because they don't think Will would have done it if it was someone who was like, if it had been Vin Diesel or somebody, if it had been The Rock, which I think is funny. I'm like, that doesn't really matter. But like,
I think Will's crazy enough to hit just about anybody, to be honest.
Oh, really? Just because he's a Scientologist don't make him that crazy, bro.
It's not the Scientology thing. It's just that like he's not been well. You know?
Okay.
Like he's doing like last couple of years have been a lot for him, you know? And then be on like his biggest night. He knew he was getting an Oscar that night. Like, and then like he's had some things going on with him. And like I would have, if I was Chris Rock, I think Chris Rock felt like he was staying away from like the entanglement jokes by like joking on Jada's hair, which like the Joker said, poor choice of words. Like, you know, like, like just like, no, like it didn't work. But at the same time, I think that's what, I think when he was outraged, he was like, it was a G.I. Jane joke. He was like, I feel like what he wanted to say was like, it wasn't an entanglement joke. Like, you know, like but like all of that came with it. And the fact that like Chris Rock had already talked about this man's wife in the past before, like it just didn't bode well. And I think that you're right. Maybe he probably wouldn't have hit a white person on the stage, but
I don't think so.
Like people say, like, would he have hit Ricky Gervais? I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
I don't think he would have hit The Rock or anything. I think, you know, he just
The Rock's
saw an
pretty fucking
opportunity.
big. You might,
yeah, exactly.
Just the sheer size of The Rock, you might think twice.
But, you know, he just kind of took advantage here in one sense. But it's like, I really don't think so. But I do agree where I think that was the breaking point, and he saw that it was Chris and was like, ooh, nah, from you?
Yeah.
From you?
That could have been it too.
You know what I mean? And it'd be like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But like, Will has been through a lot, man. I'm not going to lie. He's been going through so much, which is another topic in terms of their marriage. And I was like talking to my friends about it. And it's like, and the truth is I have nothing bad to say about either or. And, you know, a lot of people tend to like hate on Jada and be like, she's toxic and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. There's things I don't there's things I don't agree with, you know, that she does, but it's her life, her marriage, her relationship. She's going to do what she wants to do.
Right.
And I don't feel she's out of bounds in that capacity. But me personally, it's like I look at them and it's like almost as if Jada never really let go of Tupac. Mm-hmm. Will Smith stepped into place, and of course she appreciates and loves him. You know, he's a good man. You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't she? She had his children. She appreciates the family they built. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's almost as if he's still not really the one for her. And then you'll hear her in the red table talking about, yo, I don't know what it's like to be loved. And it's like, and this leads into some of Will's issues. And it's like, damn. And I just be feeling sorry for him. Cause it's like, it's not to say that I think either of them are wrong, and not to wish that either of their children were like never born and stuff is how you gonna break up a family. But like when you look at it, it's just like, would Will probably be getting on better if he wasn't in a relationship with Jada? And sometimes I look and it's like, probably. For me, the answer is like, I think he would. I think she'd probably be better off too. That's the sad part.
I don't know. That would be a big axe because like he still did have like an amazing career and everything. Like he still lived an amazing life and everything.
I think that would have happened regardless.
Like he's dead. But like,
yeah,
no,
I know, right? Yeah, you were doing that.
No,
don't
like,
you do that. Don't you take Will Smith, bro. Don't you take Smith too soon.
You're right. I need to slow down.
You better cut that shit out.
But like, no, that was me.
I know. I said good. I said good.
Okay. No, I just feel like that's a little unfair to say that, you know, like, you know, after everything we've seen, like they had a couple of bad years, but like it's a relationship. That's how I feel.
Logan, and I get you on that. And I guess for me, I'm coming from a different perspective because I'm not disputing that. Also keep in mind, they're strong people. Yeah. Potentially strong, stubborn people.
Right.
And you know how they get. So I'm not asking for it, of course. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, as I'm looking at it, if I was to have a convo with them and it was like, yo, keep it real, and I had to keep it real, like at the cost of my life, I'd be like, yo, maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have just been close. You know what I'm saying?
I think that goes back to like when we had that conversation about relationships at one time. Like I think it's very easy to look at like
on the outside looking in.
Look at the misgivings of somebody's relationship.
But we also now, and they're in public view, so we don't get everything, of course.
Right.
But we also have a lot of history to look at, and it's just like,
but we have to also look at the fact that that's them too. You know.
Now, see, like for that, I don't know, because there's a line, Logan, between this is their relationship and there's some potential toxic things going on, as you're aware of. So I don't know if we can keep doing that with them. That's where I'm at now. Because I loved Will and Jada like everybody else did.
Yeah.
J. Cole, we looking for that Jada and that Will love, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it's sad. It's like the whole, you either live long enough as a hero, see yourself become the villain type shit almost.
Right.
And so it is kind of sad, but it's like, as I'm looking at it, and, it's kind of a learning lesson for us all, truth be told, because it is like, make sure you're sure. Almost, you know what I'm saying?
As far as like somebody else's relationship, I do hope and wish the best for them, to be honest.
Yeah,
because
honestly.
like they've gone through, I think if they gone through from that point up to now and have found whatever type of stability, maybe it just looks like that. Again, like I'm saying, you're looking in, but at the same time, I'm not going to say that I don't think somebody should have been together after they like been together for like almost 30 years and stuff. And like they've had like kids and like they've had careers and stuff. Well, this has been like since the 90s. So
yeah, so it's getting close.
Yeah, so like it's getting close. So it's like I can't say that after that, maybe you should have never been together when it's two people obviously trying to work it out together.
No, see, but that's not even, I don't even mean to say it in terms of that, like maybe you shouldn't have been together. It's just that the effect you're having on each other,
it's bad.
Whoa,
yes.
Like what is going on? Bro?
But yes, but like if you're trying to figure it out, I'm like, okay, if two people can try to figure it out, now could they do better? I believe that. Like, I think
here's the thing though, specifically, because for me specifically, I see the effect Will can have on her, but I feel like Jada's really in terms of like the power there, really. She has the most effect in terms of how the relationship goes. Is how I personally feel.
I've heard that. I'm not sure I'm 100% sold on it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm 100% sold on it because of the fact that like Will is a lot. He looks like he's a lot to handle, like as a person and as a human being. Like if I was friends with Will Smith, I probably wouldn't want to hang out with him every day. You know what I mean? like he looks like he'll make you tired. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I'm not lying. I think, listen, I don't know who would not agree with that statement.
No,
Stop. Have you seen that man? He does. He jumps around too much. He like sit your ass down. Like he's that type of person.
Energy,
you know what I mean?
Like I get it. I'd probably have a good time with him. We just need breaks in between.
Yeah, but like I don't know. But like you made me lose my train of thought.
Sorry, I was just kind of funny, bro. I was like, you can't just describe people like that and it makes sense.
But yeah, he is a lot. So I can't say that, like it's all on Jada. Or like
it's not about all,
or that
she has relationship.
Like the heavy, like maybe she's put in a position where she has to be like the mature one or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
potentially.
She said that there was a moment during like I think her 40th birthday or whatever, where like she felt like the birthday wasn't really for her. It was for Will because he set it up and like it was more about like showing how big and like I'm Big Willie and all this bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's also like. Not to like belittle that, but that also be some rich nigga problem shit.
That's not rich nigga problems. That can happen. Yeah, like poor people take over other people's birthdays and stuff too. Like it happens. It does happen. It can happen. I've had it happen to me where somebody else takes over my birthday. I've had that happen. Like that's shit that it might happen not on the scale that it happened to her that day.
This is what I'm
with
saying,
like $300 million behind him. But like, it could happen to anybody is what I mean. Like, and like, and so like, it wasn't her party that day. So I can't put it all on her to be like, like, oh well, she just like has this outsized influence on her. I don't think she like takes care of him as well, like as far as like, public perception goes,
Yeah,
like she
that's
didn't like
definitely
protect him
valid.
throughout that whole August Alsina bit. But on the
Not that
flip
she could
side,
really.
when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock the other night, it wasn't really about Jada, it was about Will Smith.
No, that's valid.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like
yeah, yeah.
that had a lot more to
More to
do
do with him.
and his
Emotions were
feelings
brought up
and his
because
emotions.
of her, but
Yeah.
that was really to do with him.
But it's like, even like when he says my wife, it's like, it wasn't in defense of Jada. Like, that's my feeling about it. It wasn't in defense of Jada. It was more in defense of you and your honor and how you feel. And like, it kind of goes back to that old timey sense where it's like, you have a wife, but like, if you talk about my wife, it's because you're talking about me. Like, and I feel like Will feels like, and I kind of feel that a little bit, that like, people really don't give a fuck about Jada as long as they can use her as a way to get to Will and get at Will and beat Will up. You know what I mean? And that speaks to a lot of like the misogyny that's in our culture and a lot of that.
That's fair.
But like, that's what that is. Every time we talk about the entanglement situation, we talk about it from the perspective of Will. We don't talk about it from the perspective of Jada. We don't talk about like how Will was sleeping with Margot Robbie,
Right.
or how he was sleeping with all these other women. We don't talk about it from that end. We talk about it from the cuckolding of Will Smith. You know what I mean? Like, we talk about it from that end. And it's because we live in this place where, even though these are consenting adults in an open relationship,
Mm-hmm.
it's shameful that like a man let another man fuck where he fucks. You know what I mean? So it's like the whole thing has nothing to do with the women involved. And it's kind of sad because it removes like the humanity from them in the situation. It's like they're not even there. It's like she didn't even have to be there for Chris Rock didn't even have to like say Jada. It was like he could have said just Will, but like, and it puts it in this weird type of space where it's like wives are like property, not to talk about that, but like that's what that is.
But yeah, that's
you know what I mean?
Where it stems from.
Like, have you seen The Last Duel?
No.
Yeah, it's about like Adam Driver and like Matt Damon, and they have to fight for the girl who plays in Killing Eve. And like, basically Matt Damon is Jodie Comer's husband, right? And they're both knights, right? But like, while he's away, Adam Driver.
Oh wait, I remember this.
Yeah, Adam Driver like assaults his wife or whatever. But like the whole time they show the story from everybody's perspective, but like, what the whole movie is about really is that like it had nothing to do with the woman, because like when they decided like they was gonna fight to the death to find out like who was telling the truth or whatever, they had her on top of a pyre. Like, they was ready to light her up. They was ready to light her on fire if her husband lost. So,
oh wow, that's crazy.
So if you get to that level, it doesn't have anything to do with the woman involved. It just has everything to do with the men and their egos that are involved and everything like that. And that's the same thing that happened the other night, And like, I could talk until I'm blue in the face about why I think like Chris Rock should have got slapped, but I know at the end of the day, it didn't have nothing to do with Jada. You know what I mean? Like, it had everything to do with Will. Like, it had everything to do with Will. You know what I mean? I'll give anybody that. Like, if somebody wants to talk to me about that, I'll talk all day about that. I won't talk about, oh, it was assault and all this. I don't give a shit about that. But like, if we want to talk about, like the meat and potatoes, where it's like, hey, this guy got his ego fucked up because, people been talking about him for the last 5 years about how, his wife is fucking other dudes. I'll talk about that. That's some real shit. That's what happened to him,
Dude, mind you. Like, anyway.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah, right. I guess. Yeah.
That was a lot. But yeah, that's how I felt about that situation.
Yeah. It was a hell of a thing to see though at the Oscars.
Yeah, like Chris Rock wasn't wrong. He said that was the greatest night in television. It was. You're right.
Man,
It changed everything.
I said, wow, Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Right.
Yo, that shit was so funny, bro. I can't lie. Like, kudos to him, bro. The man is opportunist. It was like, all right, well, I got to make the most of this shit now.
Yeah. What else you got to do after that? That's like
walk off stage. I would have been like, what? And just left. Well, no, because if you assault me, I'm gonna go crazy and defend myself and most likely try to hurt you. So
even in that environment,
whoever. And, well, if I saw a slap coming, because
wouldn't that be unfair if the next day I just painted you as like some evil Mandingo jungle bunny warrior that just couldn't
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. But I'm in self-defense though, because if you like try to slap me, I'm gonna defend myself, and you hit me like
Mitch is about to hit you with a Rasengan.
I mean, I don't know about all that, but yeah, I got some demons up in here that just been itching to get out, so I chill. Bro, I tell you, I chill it out, man. But like, it's a tough one. But you can't just be letting, because I get it, but like that's not the society we aim for. And the thing about the white gaze, while true, they didn't invent that. They didn't invent the concept of noble action and, you know, people trying their best to live in a way that's beneficial to us all. That isn't them.
Okay. Not on the Will Smith or whatever subject, but like, you're right. White people didn't.
I'm aware of that one, but yeah.
White people didn't invent like assault, and they didn't invent like, you know, just being a good person. I get that. That's fine. My problem is that we get to this point where when we talk about like somebody getting assaulted because they said something that they really probably shouldn't have said to somebody else, the only thing we talk about is the assault. And when we say that we want to move forward as a better society, the only thing we talk about is the assault. And then we keep going and we keep going and we keep going until we get to this point where people can basically assault you with their words. They can do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want about you. They can defame your character. They can literally devalue you. They can get enough people to believe in your devaluations to the point where your life changes because of their words, just as much as if their life would change if you just knocked them the fuck out. Right? But our calculus,
keeping it in. Knock that motherfucker out today.
Yeah, our calculus for a better society is not that, hey, this person also probably shouldn't say bullshit like that. And that's what irks me the most, I think, about the situation. That's why I said fucking hit them. Because if we're not really looking for a better society, if all of our prescriptions is just like, well, yeah, it was a joke, but he shouldn't hit. Like, the joke was racist. The joke was sexist. The joke is very detrimental to the women in our community. And it just adds on to stereotypes about women in our community that we say we love so much. And our prescription for a better future does not include that we shouldn't make jokes about them anymore like that, or that we should defend against jokes about them like that. You know, what our prescription for a better society includes is that people who make those jokes shouldn't get any type of consequence behind that, or that they shouldn't, like, nobody should say anything about that. Like, no, the Oscars is willing to invite him back next year.
Most likely. Yeah.
So they didn't find anything wrong about what the fuck he said. So that's my problem.
No, that's valid.
That's my problem. So I can't, like, in good conscience be like, I live in a world where people are like, oh well, it was wrong for him to get hit, but they can't see that it was wrong for what he was saying.
They can't acknowledge the reason why he
got hit. They can't acknowledge that it was wrong that he got hit. They can't acknowledge why it was wrong that he got hit, and they can't acknowledge that it'd be wrong for him to be back there again if he's gonna point out like people's like issues to that extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then you have to go back into the comedy debate in terms of what's funny, what's not, what's offensive, because the lines are pretty much there, but like it's almost as if they change every now and then, and people.
But
like,
it feels like they change in a way that like it includes more offense and not less sometimes. That's how it feels like to me.
I think that's just the progression of what's happening in the country. Because, like, once again, I think I've said this before as well, whether on the show, but, like, I feel from the 90s, like, I feel as if from 1920, though 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s were horrible, that the progression was, okay, this is fucked up what we're doing. We need to slowly get rid of this and try our best to not be as racist as we've been. And then from 90s downwards until now, people's like, nah, fuck that shit. Fuck all the progress. Yeah. I feel like during the 90s, there was you could say a lot more than you say now on TV. But I also feel like there's a lot of people who are still alive today from the 90s who are like, oh, it's fucked up that you can't say that fucked up shit we used to say. And it's like, no, that's how fucking progress works. We're supposed to become better as a society and we're supposed to grow. You know what I mean? And you know what the fucked up part is? The joke wasn't even fucking funny. It was a G.I. Jane joke.
But it wasn't funny.
No, I'm saying it was a G.I. Jane joke. Like,
I know, but I could make a G.I. Jane joke that was funny, but like it wasn't funny. And so it's like all of this defense, that's what makes the defense like so racist, because you're like defending a joke that wasn't even funny. You're calling it a joke.
Even good comedy.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Up in arms. But no, that part, because with them, that is just like, honestly, it's just textbook white person. It happened at the Oscars at our event. Ooh, our star-studded event where nothing goes wrong, because nothing can possibly go wrong in the world. Oh, the Negroes are fighting. Oh, Diane. Diane, I swear Oscars, I thought he was going to lunge at me.
The Oscars should not do anything to Will Smith.
No, at all. They just need to let it go. He just
gave them the best ratings ever when they've been struggling for ratings for the past couple of years. Like, the advent of TikTok, YouTube, Netflix, Amazon, they had to start letting Netflix, and remember, there was a time where it was a very short time where Netflix and Amazon movies, things that were made on those platforms, were not considered worthy enough for the Academy.
Right.
That shit changed quick.
Real quick.
Not
to mention there was
because shit up. It would have just made them obsolete. And if you're that close to death, you know what I mean? Where Netflix can take you out, like, you need to chill on the idea that you can just like kick Will Smith out of like your little events and whatever. Especially when he gave you such a beautiful gift as what he gave you the other night.
Yo, but real shit though, like on the real, like if that were to happen and Will Smith wasn't allowed back at the Oscars, both those people in favor of Will and in favor of Chris Rock would riot. Would riot that morning. Like, what is he talking about?
I don't know. It depends on which people we're talking about.
Physically riot, but like, the point is like that wouldn't go down. Like,
I don't believe there's a good way for it to go down. I don't think there's any good way where you can take Will Smith's Oscar from him and you can kick him out of like no. There's no way you can do that. God. There's no way you can do that. I don't believe it, and I don't want to see it, but I don't believe it because there is no way it ends up good for that would be the thing that ended the Oscars. And
And mind you, we barely care about them these days.
that's
anyway.
what I'm saying. Like, they fucking just ended E3 the other day. Like, shit happens.
E3 passed?
No, E3 is gone, man. E3 is dead.
Forever?
It's probably dead forever because they was getting closer and closer to that because, like, now we're talking about video games, guys. Like, Sony and, like, Sony, Nintendo, Xbox, Microsoft, I mean, they hold their own like conventions every year.
Right.
They hold their own like video like things where like Apple does it too, like Samsung does it. Samsung just had one in February where they were showing the new Samsung phones, you know. So it's not like so like E3 is dead. Like E3 decided they was going to cancel this year, and this is the year everybody comes back from COVID. So like, no, E3 is dead, guy. It's gone.
I hope not, because I still want to go.
I would love to go, but no, they canceled that shit. That's sad. That's the end of an era right there.
That actually hurts me. I need a moment.
Take it. I will give you that because that one I was like, damn.
Yeah, bro, that should actually hit. I'm like, oh fuck, bro.
I just read that on Twitter. I was like, that's the other thing we got to stop doing. We got to stop releasing bad news on Twitter. I should not. That's
You're the one on Twitter.
I know, but that's the lowest way to like have bad news happen. There should be a place I could go to. I need like Twitter should direct me to a place to go to like officially receive bad news. Like that's the lowest way. Like I shouldn't scroll past and be
you
like,
want Twitter to redirect you to another source.
Yes. To a proper source, a proper place where I can properly receive bad news.
Don't they mostly put their sources in the posts?
No, yeah, but I mean like you don't understand what I mean. What I mean is that like the source of Twitter to tell me what evil has happened in the world. Like I like Betty White deserves a better send off than Twitter telling me is what I mean.
Okay, I feel you.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like I need to like for like maybe for like bullshit news. Like if like I don't know, like if somebody saw Pauly Shore one day and they were like, "Hey, he's down at the creamery or whatever."
No,
like,
that's valid.
Like
yeah,
but like somebody like a fucking like I don't know who's a big star. Like if Cat Williams died tomorrow, like I need to be at a place where I can process that information. Like I can't be on the street in the middle of my la-di-da day and just check my phone and then it just goes Cat Williams died. Like that's mean. That's fucked up. I think there's something wrong with our society when that happens. I think we need to clean that up. I think.
Okay. That's all right.
That's a take. Yeah.
I'll keep it in mind.
Before we go, I wanted to talk about.
I was gonna say, like, shit. Damn, that slap took over everything for real, bro.
It did, but there's a lot of stuff in it, and there's a lot of stuff that like we can't even get to because of it. You know,
we already talked about so fucking much.
I know, but there's and then there's so much more that happened, like in it. You know, it's just like that slap. It's not just a slap. That's why it's so like interesting. Because if it was just a slap, it would that's different. Like if like who can I think of? If like Ryan Reynolds slapped like Kevin Hart, we wouldn't be talking about this.
In that circumstance, I actually disagree.
Fine. Ryan Reynolds slaps Ricky Gervais. We wouldn't be talking about this shit.
And
what has happened in those two white men's lives that like
no, Logan, but in terms of this specific circumstance, it happening at the Oscars like that, I don't think we probably still would. We wouldn't talk about it as long or shame anyone for as long a period. Because it
doesn't have as much meaning attached to it. It doesn't have like the weight of the country and like August Alsina has been like brought up like how many times?
I know,
and he wasn't even there. Like you know what I mean? There's a lot. It's a lot going on.
Is he still living, by the way? Because the
Yes,
reason
he's
he was
still
with her,
alive,
he was
yes.
with he had a disease or something he was dealing with, right?
No, I
That's
think
what I
he was
mean.
depressed. I think he was
Oh,
depressed.
okay. I thought it was like a disease.
She fixed that. But
Wow. Anyway, some
Well,
of us
what's-
still have class, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Will Smith gonna slap me too? I slap back.
All right, I think we're gonna need to get out of here.
I wanted to talk about I wanted to talk about like how unfair it is of me to like just expect my friends and my loved ones to understand me.
That's what.
Which I think that's
Okay.
that's something that I'm hoping. This is what I'm not gonna say. I think I'm hoping this isn't something just I do, but maybe it is, and maybe I shouldn't do it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cut print. Good. Good. Just gonna. I mean, sometimes you're wrong, and then sometimes. Well, sometimes that shit makes sense. I mean, but like it's not that unbelievable. You know what I mean? The people you have closest to you in your life are the people you want to be able to like understand you on certain levels.
Right.
You don't want to explain certain things. You know what I mean? You want things to just automatic.
Yeah, because I'm like, aren't you paying attention to me? Like, don't you know how I am?
Oh my god.
And like that's the response I always get. It's like, oh my god. Like it's like I be watching you.
Not to the hypersensitive degree that you think, but you're being selfish in the moment because you're like, well, this is what I'm wanting. But it's like you're also not the like perfect person to these people, not on purpose. It's just that's impossible, which is the point, which is why it's an issue. Because like no one could always have your life in terms of the relationship between the two of you going perfectly.
Right.
They're not mind readers. They don't have the power to control you the way they think is best. They can barely control themselves. They can barely control themselves the way they think is best. So it's just that like it's something that isn't going to be able to happen. And I know in relationships sometimes people expect that, you know, your girl always wants you to like, yo, why didn't you read my mind? We've been together, all this yada yada yada. But it's like, I'm sorry, babe. I am not fucking Jean Grey.
It's me and a whole lot of toxic people that are just triggered right now. It's just
Yeah, a little bit. But, you know, fuck them.
No, Mitch is right. Mitch is right. We need to do better. We can't just expect people to read our minds and to pay attention to us, even though we're like,
No, don't say that. Because people paying attention to you is happening. But it's the fact that you're expecting some sort
Why
of
do you think I feel
perfection.
like it doesn't happen? Like whenever I feel like I'm
Well,
not
that's your
understood.
personal issues, and it could just be that's what you're wanting from your relationships. You know,
Mhm.
everybody has their flaws. Everybody's dealing with some toxicity on some level, you know, that we all have to like manage and get through. I don't
Yeah,
think it's
like-
happening for some like real crazy reason. You know, perhaps you have trust issues. I mean,
Yeah, that's
may
there.
she rest in peace, but you also lost your mother, which
That's
could be
true.
having an effect on you in the now, heavy. And
I
you
don't
may
like
not
talking
even be
about that, to
thinking
be
about that.
honest.
I mean, I know you don't, Logan, and I'm not your therapist. I
know,
do be wanting
but
to
I'm
talk
just saying,
to you.
like, I feel like a lot of people lately, especially since my birthday passed, like they wanted to like talk about my mom. And stuff. I was like, I don't want to talk about.
I be
this
wanting
one.
to talk to you about certain things, like on a deeper level.
I
But
appreciate
in
that you
knowing
don't.
how you are, yeah, which is the reason I don't, because I do
But you
pay
see,
attention
you know,
to
like
my
you said,
friends.
you know how I am.
Except
See,
it's not perfect though now, is it? But the point being, like, you know, there's a lot of things that could be affecting you to ask that. Truth be told, it might be an instinctual human emotion. For real, most people, who wouldn't want that? You're asking for a perfect relationship.
right.
What person? It's accepting the reality though, which is, it's funny you have the issue because usually you're more of the realist. But nonetheless, like, yeah.
Oh no, like me, like intimately is not real at all. Like I'm not
Why aren't you
realistic
here
about
right
anything.
now?
Yeah, exactly.
I was hungry 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I need
You
a
didn't care
hug.
enough?
Why weren't you here 3 hours
You
ago
gotta
when I
hug
needed
me.
it?
At the perfect time and space. What do you mean you were working? You're lying.
You're lying to me.
You're lying. Yeah, bro. And like, it could be a human thing, honestly, because that is what people would enjoy a perfect relationship. Someone always that they know they can rely on. You know, they know they can trust. They know will support them in times of need. Always there to get things done. Always having my back. Sorry, man. We live in that imperfect world that I didn't ask for.
Yeah.
We gotta deal with it.
That was a good little therapy session that I needed.
You're welcome, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm always here to talk. I just maybe trying to push you because I know how it is.
No, I don't like being pushed. Yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
that.
I know.
That's why I don't go to real therapy, because they want to do that.
You should start, man. My sessions have been going pretty well.
I'm glad. That you and whoever else in my life, like my friends that are going to therapy, I'm glad you guys are doing the real work, diving into yourselves, getting the gunk
shut
out.
up and go to therapy.
I love that for you guys. I love that for you.
Oh my God. Well,
Yeah.
no, but in all seriousness, therapy is a choice for you, and you determine if you want it or not. Maybe it's not for everybody. I'm lucky things are going okay right now. I didn't think they would be. I don't necessarily. Last session only went well because things were going well at the time and I was in a decent mood. Now I just had fucking COVID. I'm about to be stressed again. See you in next session. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now I'm on antidepressants and Oh, shout out. I'm on antidepressants. So,
shout out to antidepressants. Shout out to Zoloft.
this is Wellbutrin, but.
Shout out to Wellbutrin. Yeah, getting that depression money.
I'm just hoping it balances my shit out a little bit.
I hope that for you too. I
need it, bro.
You've been having a little rough go, a little rough patch,
and it hasn't been as little as people think. So that's the big thing. So I'm just trying, because the fact is I owe it to myself, but also to the world around me. I have to keep options open, keep trying to work through shit. Mm-hmm. And I speak to you on that level and not in the terms of like doing that. That's why I'm always willing and ready to like talk.
Right.
Because like you got to go through that shit.
No, that's true. And, I do encourage people to go to therapy.
And the thing is, when I said you got to go through that shit, I don't mean like the experience. I mean like you have to deal with whatever like emotional baggage that's really bothering you.
Yeah.
That's
true.
really what I mean. I don't mean like, oh, have this experience. No, I'm talking about whether it's therapy or you've managed to do it yourself, whatever it is, you got to go deal with that shit. Yeah. Otherwise, you end up like Will Smith at the Oscars. And we've come back full circle.
That is true. That is true. Let's get out of here.
Copy that.
Mitch, do you have anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
This Will Smith slap thing with Chris Rock, whether it be joke or serious, it has been a lot. But it also shows us just like how we are as people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'd advise all of you to really pay attention to that, yo. Especially if you're listening to our show. All we be trying to do really is like get you to think and really take a look around and see who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly advise you to do that with this instance as well, because there's a lot to really see here.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Otherwise, take care of yourself. Be good. Blessed. Peace.
That was great.
Yeah. That was the smoothest I've ever done that, huh? Carry on. Doesn't matter.
All I want to say is that people are back to getting slapped, so watch your mouth.
On one level, I'll let that one pass. That was funny. I'll let that pass. That was funny.
I mean, there's a lot of people out there that don't give a fuck about if it's assault or not. You know what I mean? Like, I feel
right. No, and mind you, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I could be one of those people who, depending on what you said, would trigger me, and I might hit you. But
right.
I'll also be the type of dude who's like, all right.
You know what a lot of these comedians are really afraid of?
What?
They're really afraid of like one of you little peasants out there, like going up on stage and
being like,
their $250 million ass. Like, like somebody gets. You probably shouldn't get up on the stage and hit Louis C.K. Like he's like 6'3", but like He's also kind of a wimp though. So maybe take your chances. But like, don't do that. I have to legally
for legal
say,
reasons. Yeah, I was about to
say,
say.
do not go.
You better take that back when we got time for this.
Leo Suke. He will own this podcast before you even finish listening to this episode. So please don't. But like, that's what they're really afraid of. They're just really just afraid that like people are just gonna come up there and start hitting them. But even though I sympathize with that sentiment, I would like to say, is there a reason why they're up there? I just want to know. Like if a giant trans woman jumped up on a Dave Chappelle stage and knocked him the fuck out on stage, is there a reason she's up there, Dave? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know.
Valid.
Like, I'm going to ask. A lot of people not going to ask why she's up there and why you got laid the fuck out. I'll ask.
Same. Which is we disagreed, but that's what once again, Trish trying to get back to the truth. Same, because we got to see all sides here.
We're like, what? Well, what did you do? I'd like to bring things back to kindergarten terms. What did you do to make Sally hit you? You know what I mean? Like,
and mind you, we didn't get to talk about it, and we have to wrap. But like, legally speaking, because I know I sound like Mitch, really, and it's like, mind you, I'm ready to. But that's an important. But legally, point is, if they had been like tried to charge, and they was like, yeah, you slapped somebody, and they tried to go out the walls, they'd be like, no, probably just pay him $500 or something. Well, right? Like he was talking reckless about his wife. Obviously, it caused him. You literally saw it cause him emotional trauma.
Right.
Sorry. Like it's handled now.
He said that shit in front of like the whole
world.
All right.
Yeah, so you were about to not say that, but it was the whole world.
I was about to say just the country, but I was
no, it's exactly. Yeah. It was we saw that footage because of China. Yeah. The whole world. Yeah.
I was like, okay. Well, you better get slapped in front of the whole world. So it's like, that's what happens. As always, if you like the show, share the show, but actually share it. Like, I know if you do. So do.
I'm going to share tonight, actually, last week's episode.
Yeah, there you go. Like and subscribe, of course, to wherever we are. And you know what? The best part about liking the show or like subscribing to the show is like if you like us on Facebook, that's my cat.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck is that sound, bro? At first it sounded a little
He's telling me to wrap it up. But like if you like us on like Apollo, come on. If you like us on like Facebook or whatever, you get full episodes on Facebook if you like us on Facebook. And if that doesn't work, you can always like us on like Spotify or Google Podcasts or whatever. And like they alert you to when new episodes come out. So you get the new episode right to your phone. Sometimes I like to put it out in the early morning. So like the first thing you get is the episode. So there you go.
Just like us.
Yeah, there you go. Just like us, just subscribe and just share it so that your friends can like also enjoy this show and you can talk about the show and you'll be like, can you believe what they said the other day? That's all I got for you guys. I love you. Please avoid jail at all costs.
Where did that come back?
We're talking about like people. We're talking about people getting hit. Yeah, so like, right, I know hitting is back, but like, do what you got to do to avoid getting locked up too. Like,
and also remember, it's really only illegal if you get caught. No, I'm just like,
damn. That is,
but I mean,
we do not support that.
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not.
But yes, I guess for legal reasons, I also say the show does not condone violence. Do what you will. Do what you will at your own expense. But of course, I might be in the back rooting for you. What? I can say that legally.
As Chris Rock would say, I don't necessarily think you right, but I understand.
Yeah, Chris, you remember that, Say bye to the people, Mitch.
Peace out, y'all. Because just peace out, yo.
This has been episode 44 of the Milk and Toast podcast. I've been your host, Logan, and we're out. Bye.